What is good, guys and gals, and welcome to the Films and Pixels podcast, episode 20. I am your host, Afif, and I've got plenty of topics on the menu for today. Not to sound like a chef or anything at a restaurant, but in any case, I definitely want to talk about my review for Top Gun Maverick and why I really liked it a lot. Plus a strange announcement of Winnie the Pooh as a horror movie character? I didn't see that coming. I want to break down my thoughts on the recent Star Wars fandom racism, and this is the first time and why this continues to disgust me. And also on the gaming side, Sony's State of Play, reacting to that from the recent State of Play presentation, reacting and breaking down the announcements that happened, I think it was on June 2. On the gaming side as well, just my early impressions on what I thought of Sonic Frontiers, why I think it's a step forward for the Sega platformer. And yeah, I'm also going to be reacting to the Black Adam trailer starring Dwayne Johnson. I think that movie's coming like October 26th, if I'm correct. I know that there was a poster release the day before the trailer was out, so I'll be looking at that again and just kind of reacting it as well. A lot that I liked, a lot that I'm just a little concerned about, but I'm glad that soon it's going to be out in late October. But yeah, if you haven't before, check out previous episodes on the channel, like, comment, subscribe. I would really appreciate it. It helps an independent channel like this, it means a lot. And yeah, despite being a little bit busy, I still want to try pumping out more content for the pod as much as I can. So if you're watching, I really do appreciate the time you take out of your day, out of your night. It means a lot. And yeah, also like and follow the social media channels that are in the description section, so that'd be very good for me as well. And yeah, without further ado, time to move forward with the rest of the episode. It seemed inevitable that sooner or later we would actually be getting a sequel to Top Gun. The original Top Gun film was released back in 1986, so it became one of the more memorable hits during that decade and really catapulted a young Tom Cruise to be a superstar in the making. And the rest of his acting career is still ongoing, still historical as well when you consider his other films. Other than just the Mission Impossible franchise, you've got his other films like Eyes Wide Shut, The Last Samurai, Vanilla Sky, Edge of Tomorrow, and so much more of his acting career that a lot of his movies remember him for. Even in the midst of all this, he's still filming the next Mission Impossible film, or I think that's in post-production. So a very busy man. I want to talk about how Maverick came together, but first I really want to give my thoughts on this movie. So I liked how it opened. We see his character Pete Mitchell, aka Maverick, still a U.S. Navy test pilot. So it seems like after 3 decades, he's avoided taking the promotion to higher ranks because he loves the adrenaline, the rush, the excitement of continuing to fly. So I thought that was just an interesting wrinkle, plot device in the beginning of the film. So this is something that I like. Now, after a test pilot kind of going more than he should at a speed, of course he kind of comes into a conflict with one of the admirals. So now he's in a position that he's never been before, and that's now to be a mentor and a teacher. And this is because of a significant character from the last film who I will get into later. But he has to be like a teacher and a mentor to a young group of aviators who are skilled and for some important mission about against an unknown enemy in their bases, taking down some of their missiles or whatever it is. And I want to mention something I like this approach. It didn't happen before the last film, and I'm glad it doesn't again. Nothing about whatever named country, nation, enemy force, opposing forces, or terrorist organization, whatever it is. I'm glad it's or even shadow organization. I'm glad it's just totally unnamed, because it doesn't need to be a film about geopolitics, about, you know, U.S. Navy against a different country's dogfight, Navy forces, whatever it is. So I'm just glad, like, no sort of name, like the movie's deeper and more than that. So I'm glad it just avoided all that. But one of the problems that Maverick goes through is that he tries to kind of reach out and try to forge, or I should say reforge, this relationship he has with the Rooster. Bradley Bradshaw, who's also, has the code name Rooster. He's played by Miles Teller, who had a good performance in this film. It seems like there's a backstory where there's like sort of some tense moments between them, just because he pulled his papers out of the academy and held his naval career back a few years, but only because it's revealed later on that he had to promise his mother so that doesn't exactly follow the same footsteps as his dad, Goose. Goose, if you might remember, Maverick's best friend, the co-pilot, died by accident in the last film. Maverick has blamed himself, but through investigation, total accident, Maverick had no involvement in Goose's death, but still something that has weighed on him heavily. So this is where like it's sort of like uncomfortable how late both of them kind of like forge their relationship later on. So, and no doubt it kind of bothers Rooster as well, you know. Now, as for the aviators in training, I think one of them, there's like Phoenix and Payback and all these other names, just with these code names and all that. I like how they have different personalities, whether there's someone who's arrogant, smart, confident, anxious, and so forth, but still they have all the same ambitions of being highly trained, highly skilled aviators, you know. So again, like I was saying, it's a decision I support. I think it's a smart move for our shadowy, no unknown name and all that. Now I want to talk about a decision that producers, directors made for the film for creative purposes, and that's to have Jennifer Connelly as some sort of love interest who's like a bartender in the film. And that's really fine to me, like nothing wrong, decent performance. Their on-screen chemistry was obvious and all that. They made it work. I just really wasn't interested in those parts. It didn't mean anything. And you know what? Let's be honest. Better to have someone who's in better shape than to ask Kelly McGillis to come back to set looking like that. So it's better. And you know what? To me, she looks better than ever. Jennifer Connelly. I'm referring to Jennifer Connelly looking better than ever, really, than at her age. So it's a fine decision by me. I just didn't care too much. It's just wasted screen time, but whatever's, unless it's meant for an emotional push for Maverick somewhere later on, but whatever. I guess the more important relationship that means more to Maverick, and this is where this character really figures into Maverick being a mentor and a teacher, is Iceman himself. Some of you may remember Iceman in the last film, played by a younger Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer does come back, and I like how they've been close friends even at the end of the last film, in the '86 film. You know, somehow not somehow, but they embraced one another, appreciate one another, respected one another after like having some sort of rivalry, and their relationship has blossomed since then. As once upon a time, seeing each other as equal competition. So that was something nice to see. And he's the one who really advocated for him to be a teacher and protect him from any of his antics against admirals and so forth. Because he has a habit of irritating his superiors. Now, the thing is, I want to mention something that's kind of important. Now, it shows that Val Kilmer's character is going through throat cancer, and he's suffering through health issues throughout the many years. And that's actually true for the actual actor. It's just that it's played into his character. Val Kilmer has had several health issues for a very long time, through many years, even like issues with throat cancer. So that's played into the film. But just so that, because ice is important, there's an actual documentary simply called Val, that chronicles his life and career. And so I thought that was important just to also mention, and you'll even notice that like he manages to talk, but he actually really is sick, Val Kilmer, in the film. Now, an important aspect of this movie, the cinematography, I want to talk about that. It's obviously at its best when it comes to the flight training, dogfight sequences when the actors are flying, and obviously in like these test pilots. I'm sure it's like part visual effects, part special effects, but the visual effects really do stand out as well. I thought they're really good. I liked how there's like some of these low angle, high angle camera shots. And of course, the close up shots always in the faces of the aviators when there's like so much intensity going on around them. So I thought that was good to see, And and also Maverick's actions towards Rooster makes, as I said, it makes him feel heavy because part of that is Miles Teller's character Rooster still has so much grudge against Maverick that it's created some sort of self-doubt within him. But even when Maverick didn't feel like he was ready, he wanted to push him just to boost his self-confidence and really make him stand up and be the best part of himself. So I kind of like that, encouraging him to just react and not think so much. And this is where I like in the third act where they kind of had to, I wouldn't say confront each other, but, when a mission kind of goes wrong, kind of forced to be stuck with one another and cooperate, and you kind of saw them really grow with one another, And I liked how in the end when they both even embraced each other, it's similar and really like it's sort of a callback to the last film, how that movie also ended. So I really liked it. There was a lot to really like in this movie. I wouldn't say perfect, but definitely a standout film. It's no accident that Top Gun Maverick got a 12-minute standing ovation, I think in the Cannes Film Festival, and like perfect or near perfect Metacritic, Rotten Tomatoes, critical universal acclaims scores, doing so well financially in the box office. So, and really one of Tom Cruise's best films. A lot really went right with this movie, and I liked the story. I think the director went to Paris. I think it was in Paris while they're shooting scenes for Mission Impossible, the new one, Dark Reckoning, I think. I know there was a trailer for it. I talked about that trailer. He had 30 minutes to pitch the film to Tom Cruise, what it's about, how where's Maverick's emotional state, mental state, confronting his past, and all that sort of stuff, which is played into the film. And after Tom Cruise heard the pitch, he immediately called head executives, producers at Paramount, and asked for a Top Gun movie sequel to be made. And that's exactly what happened. Simply because after hearing your pitch from the film's director, Tom Cruise wanted this movie to be greenlight. And yeah, that's exactly what happened. If this is what he wanted, do what Tom Cruise wants. It's funny, but I like how it works. So if you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. I think it's like one of those 9 out of 10 films. Fantastic. Other than like the whole romance thing, which I personally didn't care for, but it's really fine. It's still a fantastic film. And yeah, like before any other big blockbuster films come for the summer, this one you got to check out. Okay, so next up for this topic, I want to mention this strange announcement of an upcoming horror movie slash slasher film, whatever. Sorry, no pun intended there, but like horror slasher film coming up with Winnie the Pooh and Piglet. Yeah, I mean, like I wish I were kidding. Like there's an actual horror film with Winnie the Pooh in it, and of course there's Piglet as well. Like the whole idea is so weird. I don't get exactly how or why this whole thing just conceived to be in existence. Like I don't know. Like I don't get the sort of creative idea in it. Like it's really completely shocking turn of events when you consider the legacy of these characters. I mean, I'm pretty sure the original author, A.A. Milne, didn't envision a children's book suddenly turn into a horror film, but it's just a strange twist from the director. I've got the name. Do I have the name? Like Christopher something. Reese Frake Waterfield. Yeah. Yeah, Reese Frake Waterfield, the director producer for this film. Like, it's really weird. Like, what's gonna happen? Well, like, when there's the synopsis, but like, what's gonna happen when Winnie the Pooh sees a bunch of kids? What's he gonna be like? Oh, brother, I believe a bunch of teenagers have stolen my honey pot. Like, what? Like, what do you think? What do you think is gonna do? Like, just looking at the pictures, like, it's so weird. Like, oh, brother. Like, I can't really like think of it in my head. Like, you go. Oh no, oh boy. Sorry, clear. I'm messing up there. Oh boy, you stole my honey pots. Time to get what you deserve. Like, it's just weird, you know? Like, okay, like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know, just the pictures, like, his face looks kind of droopy, and then, like, another image where someone goes downstairs and window says, like, you know, get out and whatever. And then there's, like, another image where Pooh and Piglet are behind a teenager in a jacuzzi ready to kill the innocent teenager, whoever she is. And yeah, like, even like clearly there's this weird thing with pools and whatever, but it's obvious that a group of young girls are in a lodge for a winter season, whatever it is. Looks like a winter occasion that's going on, sitting near the bonfire and all that good stuff. And yeah, clearly like someone is kidnapped in the middle of the road. And yeah, that looks like Piglet to me, because it looks like in the car, as I'm looking at it, it looks like there's Winnie the Pooh in the car or something. Or it's a surprise character. I don't know what's going on. Could there be other characters like Tigger in it? I don't know. But yeah, another image I'm seeing, definitely Winnie the Pooh. So it's just so weird. Like, this whole existence is so random and so weird. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if there's been any backlash about it on Twitter, but I can't imagine like anyone's happy about this. Like I'm sure there's so many people in their minds that's thinking like, oh my God, like, you know, ruining our childhood and all that. Like, and you know, at the same time, let me mention something. Like, it's not like the Winnie the Pooh IP like have stayed irrelevant. I remember there was a Christopher Robin's film. I think it starred Ewan McGregor and Haley Atwell. I think it was sometime in 2018, summer 2018 as well. You know, not a sort of a live action, but not a remake as well. And you know, even like those characters made a crossover appearance with Kingdom Hearts 3 that was as recent as 2019. So they've been somewhat remained relevant throughout different mediums in the world, whether it's film, TV, gaming. They've been around still, one way or another. So this is kind of weird. Yeah, as for a synopsis, yeah, I've got something actually. It says, Pooh and Piglet experience a drastic drop in food as Christopher grew up. Over the years, they became increasingly hungry and feral. They had to resort to eating Eeyore. Ew. Then Christopher returns with his wife to introduce her to his old friends, and when that happens, they get enraged when they see them. All of the hatred they built up over the years unleashes, and then they go on this rampage. That continues when they end up at this rural house with these girls. So yeah, like, I'm getting this sort of Friday the 13th, Saw vibes that's going on, maybe even Halloween as well. You know, like those slasher films. So at least the most significant comparison I would say is Friday the 13th with the popular Jason Voorhees character, if you know what I'm talking about. I can see how that movie specifically takes inspiration from those old early on films as well. Not mostly the later films, you know. I think that's the most likely the case. But yeah, like, let me know what you think. Is this a good idea? Is this a strange idea? Like, what are your thoughts on this whole Winnie the Pooh horror movie thing? I mean, I'd love to know and hear opinions on this. So yeah, I encourage all of you and any of you to comment in the comment section on this matter. Okay, so as many of you know, when it comes to the fandom in the Star Wars universe, they're so passionate, and that is true, but they can really, really go too far. And that's so unfortunate as well. Like, they can be really toxic, really harsh, really unfair, and even punishing. And there's a recent history of all this that I will get into. And that's exactly what has happened recently. So by the time the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV series premiered on Disney Plus, which also stars Ewan McGregor, and I'll get to him in a moment, because one of the actresses who plays one of the Inquisitors, her name is Moses Ingram. For one reason or another, she's all of a sudden got so much racism, plenty of hate and racist comments and messages through Instagram, and this is really unfair. And she did respond to to all this through her Insta stories. I don't have the video, but I did find quotes on it. I mean, what's even worse, like so many things like "go die" or whatever, even being called the N-word as one of the examples. So it's really awful. And Ewan McGregor did share and respond to video. His video did go up to socials, and the Star Wars Twitter account. Star Wars Twitter account did share his video, and I thought that was really important they did that. So I'm gonna play that.
This weekend, Star Wars fans made Obi-Wan Kenobi the most watched Disney Plus original series premiere of all time. And for that, I would say a big thank you. And it just goes to show what this family can do when we all pull together. However, it seems that some of the fan base from this influential fan base have decided to attack Moses Ingram online and send her the most horrendous racist DMs. And I heard some of them this morning, and it just broke my heart. Moses is a brilliant actor. She's a brilliant woman. And she's absolutely amazing in this series. She brings so much to the series. She brings so much to the franchise. And it just sickened me to my stomach to hear that this had been happening. I just want to say, as the leading actor in the series, as the executive producer on the series, that we stand with Moses. We love Moses. And if you're sending her bullying messages, you're no Star Wars fan in my mind. There's no place for racism in this world. And I totally stand with Moses.
I really like and applaud what Ewan McGregor said, and I'm with him fully 100%. Like, these sort of attacks really disgust me. I don't like it. I never liked it before, and I'm definitely not going to like them now. So I'm really glad that he took the time and responded, because, like, you know, his voice means a lot. He obviously has direct influence on the series, not just being an actor but executive producer, so that does matter. And you know, like, he's not the only one as well. Like, Star Wars Twitter account did say, "We are proud to welcome Moses Ingram to the Star Wars family and excited for Reva's story to unfold. If anyone intends to make her feel in any way unwelcome, we only have one thing to say: we resist." Following that same thread, the same Star Wars account also said, "There are more than 20 million sentient species in the Star Wars galaxy. Don't choose to be racist." So I'm really glad as well that there's responses online from the Star Wars social media team on Twitter talking about this. And this is something that me personally, I really do appreciate. Like, and you know, I want to go back to it. Like, oh yeah, and one of the things that she said just before I go back to recent history, you know, she responded as well, and I'm really glad she did. I have the quotes saying, "There's nothing anybody can do about this. There's nothing anybody can do to stop this hate. The thing that bothers me is this feeling of like, I just gotta shut up and take it. I just have to grin and bear it. I'm not built like that." And she continues saying, "Thank you to the people who show up for me in the comments and the places that I'm not going to put myself. And to the rest of y'all weird." And yeah, you know what? I have to agree. I mean, it's not fair for a young actress like to just, you know, she is 28, but not fair to have her be put in a place, and even like African-American actresses playing television roles. I think something similar may have happened to, by saying her name, Sonequa Martin in Star Trek Discovery. She may have gone through abuse and harassment and racism as well. So it's a weird sort of trend that has happened before, not the first time. And I want to go back to a couple of, actually three prominent Star Wars actors, John Boyega and Kelly Marie Tran. I mean, they've been very vocal about the racism and hate they got online just after appearing in recent Star Wars movies in the sequel trilogy. And it's not really fair. I mean, like for someone like Kelly Marie Tran and Star Wars The Last Jedi, which me personally, I really liked, and the critics liked it, but the fandom hated. Like, I'll get into all that in just a moment as well, but she wrote an op-ed on the New York Times about the harassment she received just for starring in The Last Jedi. And it became so intense that not only did she leave social media, but she had to spend time in therapy as well. And that's not even fair. And after that whole thing, when it came to, not The Last Jedi, the 2019 Star Wars film, The Rise of the Skywalker. I almost forgot about the title. Anyway, yeah, The Rise of the Skywalker. She did appear in the movie, but her role and the amount of screen time, like she didn't have as many scenes. I think obviously a large part of that had to do with Rian Johnson not being director in the movie like he was in Last Jedi, and then J.J. Abrams coming back just like he did for The Force Awakens. But speaking of Force Awakens, when it came to the Force Awakens trailer, John Boyega making an appearance in the marketing promotion, there was a whole strange social media movement of hashtag Black Stormtrooper, which is weird. And after many reacted to his casting with suspicion and racist remarks, it's so weird. And you know what's also unfair? Even Daisy Ridley herself, she was on the main face of the sequel trilogy, played Rey. Yeah, even I almost forgot the name of the character, but I saw all three movies, so she played Rey. We all know that. What's even worse is that, behind the camera, she faced as well a lot of the harassment throughout the films. And it also made her quit social media, like whatever she got. I mean, she got a lot of harassment comments regarding her body image or body type, and comments about her weight or whatever it is. And that wasn't exactly fair. I mean, this even goes back to the era of the prequel trilogies. I mean, think about this. Like, this is really a cautionary tale, because really you can't please them easily. Like, anything they don't like, they really attack. Like, it's really one of the most toxic fan bases in pop culture cinema, Like Jake Lloyd, maybe some of you may remember the name Jake Lloyd when he was just a little kid. He did play a very young Anakin Skywalker, whose future we all know about. Like, it turns out he even faced subjected to brutal harassment as well. And I also feel bad for another actor, Ahmed Best. Some of you may remember the name Ahmed Best. He plays Jar Jar Binks. Now look, I get it. Jar Jar Binks, not exactly the most beloved, one of the most hated Star Wars characters, but the whole negative situation was so bad, like it really had serious effects on him. First, if it made Jake Lloyd quit acting altogether, and then Ahmed Best contemplated committing suicide. He didn't attempt or anything like that, but I mean, it really hurt him. So I really get it. Like, the original trilogy, I mean, the first two films, everyone agrees they're like A grades, and then Return of the Jedi like a B grade. But then the prequel trilogies, hated a lot. And then the sequel trilogies, I don't know, it's like a lot of, I mean, The Force Awakens critics didn't love, but fans liked. And the issue was that it was so much like the first one, A New Hope, or whatever you want to call it, from 1977, the first one. And then The Last Jedi, critics liked, and I really liked that as well, but the fans hated just being totally different and not a Star Wars film. And then a lot of reaction to the Return of Skywalker, or no, The Rise of Skywalker, being worse than Episode 1 of the films. Like, so like critics and fans, when it comes to Star Wars films, they always have divided opinions, and it gets really heated and intense and even unhealthy at sometimes. So it just shows, like, like, this really goes back to when any sort of actor, actress portrays any character in a certain way that the fans don't like. they really do attack unrelentlessly, and it's really become really harmful by now. Like, I'm not sure I get the idea or the motivation behind the reasons, but they're human beings, no matter how famous or not famous they are. Like, it affects their mental health as well. Like, it doesn't help with the whole public exposure of Instagram today. But again, this is a situation like there was no Instagram in the prequel trilogy era. So again, like now it's just easier to harm people with the technology that we have. But I do agree with what Ewan McGregor says. Like, it has to stop. I don't think it's going to stop, but it really, really does need to stop from now on. Okay, so I think it was almost a week ago for this topic I do want to talk about. Yeah, actually, a week ago from today, June 2, Sony had a state of play online presentation. They've done this for a while. It's just like revealing upcoming projects, releases, trailers, all of that sort of stuff. Developers and studios partnering with Sony for reveals and all that sort of stuff. Like similar to what Nintendo has been doing with the Nintendo Direct. But anyway, a lot of interesting and major news that caught my attention. I do have all of the notes here, but I'm going to start with the big news, the big names. First, after many years of rumors, there's an official announcement for a Resident Evil 4 remake. So yeah, after Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3 getting remakes, Resident Evil 4 will officially get a remake. And it is for the new gen consoles only. So yeah, PS5, Series X, Series S, Windows. And it's not cross-gen, and that's really fine by me. There was even an announcement for a March 24, 2023 release date. And while it is a remake in terms of the plot and story, it's going to be a reimagining. So whatever story that happened in Resident Evil 4, it likely won't be the same, but it could be different. It could be better. Who knows? Sorry. Another trailer review regarding Capcom. Another big name, Street Fighter 6. There was like a gameplay trailer available. And not that I'm a major Street Fighter player or anything. Whoops, sorry. Not a major player in the Street Fighter games. But I really liked what I saw with the character models, like it looked a bit too buffed up. I don't know if that makes sense. But there was a lot I liked, and the gameplay looked really amazing. Like so many amazing particle effects and all that. And while the story mode is back, it's going to be completely different than whatever happened before. I think it's going to be more of this like created character sort of in this open world setting or sort of like that, open-ended, whatever you want to call it. To me, it kind of reminded me of something that we've seen in sports games like UFC and NBA 2K that they do like with career mode. So I think I like this idea. I like this route. I don't know if it's going to be groundbreaking or innovative in the fighting genre, but not a terrible idea. So yeah, I mean, I liked what I saw regarding the gameplay of Street Fighter 6 trailer. That was pretty cool. Here's one that's kind of funny. Now, it was announced, I think 2 years ago. Sort of like, I don't know if I want to call it platform, like a game called Stray. Seemingly just starring a stray cat. I think it's exclusive for PS5. Now look, I like cats now, but I don't get the whole reason or idea why customers should play a game about a stray cat. I don't know. A lot that I don't understand, but good for the developers. I mean, if you're a major cat lover and you have cats of your own, good for you. But yeah, another important news that caught me by surprise. An announcement for both Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered and Miles Morales are finally coming to Windows. Now, first, the remastered Spider-Man game does have an August 12 release date. In this new trailer, it's just like a trailer with cutscenes and all that sort of stuff. It has a release date. As for the Miles Morales game, it is coming to Windows, but there's no official announcement for the release date except somewhere in the fall. So expect that by that time, I'm assuming like a 2-year anniversary release date, maybe October, November, if I had to predict. But yeah, news outlets confirmed the source. of not one but two different Spider-Man games coming to Windows. Okay, let's see. Yeah, Horizon Forbidden West updates like New Game Plus and Ultra Hard Mode and improvements for PS4 Pro and PS5. Okay, that's fine. All right, so major PSVR 2 titles, familiar names and new ones, got to showcase trailers, whether it's Resident Evil Village, Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners Chapter 2 Retribution, No Man's Sky, Horizon Call of Mountain. All four of them got trailers just to showcase and reveal the games that are coming for the PSVR 2 headset. So that's good to see. Now, major trailer that everyone's been waiting for. There's now like a gameplay combat trailer for Final Fantasy 16. Okay, so that was good to know. Because like a lot of people really concerned the state. Like it was announced that it got delayed from this year, but by the end of the trailer, there was an announcement for a summer 2023 release date. So that's really fine for hardcore Final Fantasy fans. I don't know if this is easier for casual first timers to get through, just like Final Fantasy 15 for first timers. It's made for both hardcore first timers. But anyway, as an isometric platformer called Tunic, coming to Sony cross-gen consoles September 27th. That's cool and all. Something about a skateboard shooter called Roller Dome. At least it's coming August 16th. There's a release date, but it's like, I don't know. Also, one that's a bit intriguing. It's space sci-fi horror. Like, it's said to have like Dead Space vibes, and maybe the development group might be behind it. I don't know. It's called the Callisto Protocol. So it's like a space horror sci-fi sort of thing. That's kind of intriguing new game project that's in development. Two more that were announced. Season, A Letter to the Future. It got a trailer. It sounds like an indie game sort of thing. I don't really know what it's about, but it sounds like an indie project as well. And also, I'm assuming a JRPG. There's one more title. Maybe it's a JRPG or something. Like it does have anime called Eternights. It's supposedly like some sort of dating romance game. It is going to get cross-gen release, but yeah, I don't get whatever the whole deal is. So yeah. I mean, okay, like aside from a few title announcements, I'd say the bigger ones really like trailers. Resident Evil 4 Remake, Street Fighter 6, Final Fantasy 16 gameplay trailer. I guess it's kind of important big deal that Horizon Forbidden West introduced a lot of new features. Good to know that both Marvel Spider-Man games, the remastered and Miles Morales, coming to Windows. There's an intriguing story actually that was published. It seemed like Marvel asked Xbox if they wanted to have Spider-Man games as exclusive titles. Xbox said no for Spider-Man games to be exclusive to the Xbox platforms. So they went to Sony and they said yes. So, you know, what could have been? I mean, Sony almost lost out on Spider-Man games and it could have been only on Xbox. So, yeah, you never know, like, how things go, you know. Maybe by now it's a decision they clearly regret. It would have helped them sell even more units of the Xbox One. And because Xbox One has sold like 50 plus, which is so nothing compared to like 116 million. Whoops.
A few minutes later.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. There was a unexpected technicality problem. But with that being said, regarding the Spider-Man games, you know, I really like that. I mean, it's one of my favorites on the PS4. Highly recommended to this day. Whether you play it on PS4, the Pro model, obviously. It's good that I got remastered on PS5. So now it's got 60 FPS ray tracing enhancements as well. 4K graphics. That's also nice to see. I recommend it. If you don't have a PS console, I guess now is the best time to get it for your Windows platform. I'm pretty sure it's coming to Steam and Epic. I've yet to play the Miles Morales game. I intend to when I can get my hands on a copy at a good price. That's you know, appealing to me. So, you know, I'll try at some point. But anyway, regarding the state of play. I thought Sony did a good job. It's fine. I think it was maybe last fall they did something similar. But yeah, for those that were concerned, it's good that there's some new information regarding Final Fantasy 16. But yeah, I'd say fairly decent state of play. Yeah, good job from them. And yeah, I guess for those, even now with the PS5, they have a lot to look forward to for upcoming releases in the near future. Okay, so for this topic, I want to stay on the gaming section just for a moment and just bring attention to recent demonstrations with Sega. They've been partnering with IGN.com, demonstrating like some gameplay footage of what's expected, what's to come later this year for their new Sonic game, Sonic Frontiers, on the web series called IGN First. And you know, like, I'll talk about just my thoughts and opinions on it, but it's a good thing. Like, there is some hype surrounding this game, considering how it's supposedly the first time there's a Sonic the Hedgehog game that's sort of in the open world genre, even though Sega themselves are categorizing it as an open zone, but it's meant to be just a little somewhat different, somewhat familiar in some ways. But you know, it's a good thing that this time there's a little bit more freedom and space for the character just to run around as fast as we want with the character, like kind of like the Flash, you know. And it's a good move, you know, because like so many popular names, gaming franchise IPs throughout the names have been linear in different genres, like Final Fantasy, Metal Gear, The Legend of Zelda, Halo, Dragon Quest, The Elder Scrolls, Fallout, and many more have eventually gone to the open world route. It's definitely worked in their favor. You know, those games and that sort of freedom of genre, sandbox genre, you know, have been critically, commercially acclaimed, and it's worked for them. So this is definitely a good step and very smart direction for Sega to take Sonic, you know, and I think it'll be better for it. You know, I like the freedom given. It's the gameplay when it comes to the unlimited speed, you know, just having the control of it sort of reminds me of Saints Row the Fourth, so I like that. And just watching the video, I liked how, like, I would say it's like Green Hill Zone or whatever it is, like the popular, one of those popular first opening stages, but it kind of gives you the way to go around combating enemy robots in different ways, whether it's circling around them or hitting them, combat moves and new moves and all that good stuff. Also running up to giant towers, sort of like Shadow Colossus or whatever it is. And now, of course, there's the rings, but there's also like bumpers, slide rails, also different racing challenges. And it's cool that there's going to be different puzzles. So it's still in the spirit of the platforming sort of thing, but maybe a little bit of RPG. It was said that there's going to be skill tree for this, so I guess that's fine. It remains to be seen how having a skill tree for a character like Sonic would work. But I think the quotes that I've got from Takashi Lizuka, he's creative officer at Sonic Team, just quotes I got saying, past game in the Sonic series have taken different tones depending on their story and themes. This time, these mysterious islands are the game's major setting. That's why our artists have worked hard to create a mysterious mood. So basically, like the overall setting, location, it's supposed to be like, I don't know, like this island there's not much known about it. It's just like a mysterious mood. You're I don't know, just whatever it is. I guess that sounds interesting. But in terms of differentiating from open world, like Lizuka said, like, open world games like Zelda or other AAA games have RPG or adventure worlds. So yeah, that is true for the most part. I mean, like a lot of open world games use RPG elements for customization, skills building, exploration, inventory. And that's all good and fine. It works well. I guess that's really fine by me. So kind of giving the idea of what this is, like for Sonic, the core here is a 3D action game. Our basic idea was to have that take place in an open space area. What sets Sonic Frontiers apart is this different approach to an open world game. So that's pretty cool. It seems like it'll work well. And again, I like how there are different ways of combating enemies, circling them around, dodging attacks, different puzzles, of course, the collecting rings, uh, collecting heart-shaped lives or special items, just exploring. But as demonstrated in the video, like if there is one concerning problem, I would say, is as going through, like all this pop-in keeps coming up. And this is a concern, like again, it's like an early build, but definitely from now until whenever the release date is, because there's no release date at the moment, like that'll be fixed. So any sort of technical issues regarding pop-in, or hopefully there are no frame rate problems, I think that'll be fixed and solved, cleaned up. If it needs to be delayed, fine. But I just think it's monumental that a popular character like this, that's been linear in its own way for so long, kind of having more sandbox freedom, if you want to say it like that. I know, like technically, kind of like the sandbox sort of genre, of course, in open world, however you want to call it, it's all fine. But this is a good creative move, once more. But I mean, hopefully any sort of gameplay additions that we've not seen, it'll be known. Are there any more characters like the popular classic characters like Tails and Knuckles, especially as we've seen them in the Sonic 2 movie? It's not really known. There's no information. It just looks empty. I mean, when it came to one of the initial video clips, like a lot of people on YouTube reacted, that became like a lot of people were really concerned about it, saying that this looks bad, this might not work. It's just initial concerns. It just needs time for patience, you know? So I don't blame them for having fears, any concern of how the final product may end up being, and I get it. But again, early builds, I mean, don't take it as it is, but I like to know and see any more characters, you know? So I'm expecting Robotnik also to be an antagonist, or whoever. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, at least it's a good example of what's to come. Okay, for this final topic, I'm actually really excited just to react, just give my quick thoughts on DC Comics Black Adam trailer. I mean, it's been so long since like there was this announcement, I think sometime January 2017, like in the year 2017, announcement of The Rock, Dwayne Johnson getting the role as Black Adam, and I'm really happy about it. And I there was a lot I liked about the trailer. Once again, DC, they're known to be kind of like this serious, dark tone sort of thing. So I like the premise of like, you know, Black Adam, once a slave and died and reborn as a god, and you know, supposedly his son sacrificed his life to save him. So kind of like, it's almost like a revenge tale sort of thing, I guess. I really like the poster. A poster just the day before was released online. The world needed a hero. It got Black Adam. So supposedly, you know, someone who's supposed to be a hero but like turned into a crazy grief supervillain kind of thing. It does have a release date for October 21, so that's something very good to look forward to. Few standouts I liked in the trailer. First, I was very happy just seeing the appearance of Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate. I'm looking forward to see how he does as Dr. Fate. I mean, is it me, or do I think like he really rocks the gray hair and the gray beard really well? Like, he looks good. To me, he looks good with that beard and hair. I don't know. I liked what I saw. I do know that, let's see, in terms of cast, Noah Centineo is Atom Smasher. Aldous Hodge will be Hawkman, and Quintessa Swindell will be Red Tornado, something like that. Just, that's all I know from the other DC comic book inspired characters that are going to be in it. But it may sort of be like a spin-off from Shazam, and maybe also as well Shazam, Fury of the Gods, or whatever. But will Black Adam and Shazam collide in a third Shazam film? I'd like to see that. But this has been a passion project of The Rock, something that he's really been looking forward to. Obviously, someone who loves the gym, and that's no secret, worked out his body, trained for this movie. So I'm really looking forward to it. Visual effects definitely look amazing as well, you know, and I really do think it's going to be a must-see. I like the fact that it is serious. It doesn't try to be dumb, goofy. I'm sure it's gonna be fun, but I don't think it's trying to be dumb at the same time, you know? So I like that somewhere in the trailer that maybe he believes he's not supposed to be the savior of the world, you know, that sort of thing, and how he becomes a target later on. So I kind of like where it takes the character going forward, you know? But yeah, like, I mean, it's yeah, this is one of the more exciting comic book film announcements, you know, release dates. You know, we know about Thor Love and Thunder next month in July, but in terms of DC, I think to me this is the more exciting DC comic book film I'm definitely looking forward to. I don't remember what else is coming this year, but to me this one is a big one, especially for The Rock. It's a passion project for him. He's worked hard on it. Some even say he's made for this role. So there's a lot of hype and excitement built up over the last 5 or 6 years for this movie. Unfortunately, there was a COVID-19 pandemic from last year, but whatever, it's coming this year. Yeah, definitely get ready for this movie. Black Adam is coming for Earth. All right, guys and gals. Once again, that pretty much wraps it up for tonight's episode. Today's episode, wherever you are in the world, for the Films and Pixels podcast, episode 20. For those who have watched and listened from beginning to end, thank you so much. I really do appreciate the time you took just to listen to me talk about different pop culture topics and so forth. It means a lot. Whether you watched it on YouTube or listening to it through different audio streaming platforms, it means a lot to me. So again, thank you so much. Once more, if you haven't done so, please go and see and listen to previous episodes that are available. Subscribe, follow, comment, like, you know, the whole thing. And I'm your host, Afif, and thank you for listening to episode 20. Good day and good night.